The Matrix Resurrections. This is very concerning to me. There's some tweets in here from the critics. Again, I have my issues with critics. We were going to cover a story on a movie called American Underdog, where I was reading reviews that just made me roll my eyes into the back of my head and give myself a migraine. But I tend to think that critics have this elitist perspective that is very disconnected from the average viewer.
Look at Rotten Tomatoes.
That's the number one example we always give. Is that Rotten Tomatoes very clearly, if the fans like it, the audience hates it. If the audience hates it, the critics love it. Yeah. I screwed up that saying, but you get what I'm saying. And with this one, it's not so much what they're saying, other than a few comparisons, but it's also how they describe parts of the plot that make me weary of it, being that it's a Matrix movie. But it says, this is an article from IndieWire, and it says, The Matrix Resurrections, First Reactions, Bold Hollywood Sequel or Meta Headache. I worry hearing meta I don't want.
They can't help it.
They can't.
They just heard about it again the other day.
I just
we're going to throw it in the headline.
I don't want meta humor in my Matrix movies.
But it is meta. I mean,
I don't have faith that they're going to do it in a clever way.
It would be funny if they had the metaverse into it.
Let's not say we did.
Zuckerberg is the villain, I think.
Zuckerberg is secretly in this movie.
He's Agent Smith, actually.
That would be interesting.
Oh God, that'd be so weird because he doesn't blink and he just sweats right here.
Yeah.
I really think he's a lizard person.
Do you? I think he's just CGI.
Elon Musk can be Trinity.
Yeah. Perfect. This movie I'll see.
But have you seen Inside Job? Netflix? It's like adult animation cartoon. I always talk about it, but they talked about Mark Zuckerberg secretly being a lizard person. That's why he's so awkward.
That's funny. Shoot, who knows what he is? There was a video of him I saw recently, and I just thought his face was a deep fake.
Oh.
Like he's just not real. There's nothing fake about this person.
Okay. We're going off topic. Brett really wants to read this.
But speaking of deepfakes, IndieWire says of Matrix.
Yes. The Matrix Resurrections is finally screened for press, industry, and other lucky viewers. And first reactions to the sequel from director Lana Wachowski are pouring in. This is not only the last major movie premiere to round out this year's winter season. It is also the first Matrix film since 2003's The Matrix Revolutions. And the fourth film in the franchise. Let's see. Check out a roundup of social media reactions, which are divided but sway towards positive. Oh, that sounds like... doesn't that sound like slant writing right there? Like,
kind of.
They love to... they're very good at, like... framing it in the way they need to frame it, right?
Yep.
So it says The Matrix 4 features Keanu Reeves, consummate game stuntmen of all time, and Carrie-Anne Moss reprising their roles as Neo and Trinity, respectively, as well as Jada Pinkett Smith as Niobe, Lambert Wilson as the I always forget how to pronounce that one.
I don't even know.
The Merovingian.
Yeah.
I always forget how to pronounce someone. And Daniel Bernhardt as Agent Johnson. They're joined by a wave of high-profile co-stars, including Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, Neil Patrick Harris, Jonathan Groff, Toby Unwamir. I always apologize for that. And Priyanka Chopra. Love Priyanka Chopra.
I'm excited to see Neil Patrick Harris reprise his role as Doogie Howser in The Matrix. Though.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, that was where my first kind of, when I saw him in this, I was like, really? Like,
he's awesome, though.
I know.
He is.
But in this world, I just...
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny because now he's back into acting. He's in that new Nicolas Cage movie. Have you seen the trailer?
Oh, no, but it looks really good.
Yes.
It is. So he's in that movie, too. So I feel like...
in that movie, he makes 110% perfect sense. In this movie, I don't know if Neil Patrick Harris is the person. It does feel too wink at the camera to me.
Come on, it's Neil Patrick Harris. How can you be mad at that face?
So it says
he does musicals.
Wait, he was in Gone Girl, right?
I think.
I think so. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he was great in that movie.
It's out of all the Ben Affleck movies, that's like the one that everybody loves that I've seen the least.
I really like that movie. I don't think I've seen it many times, but I really enjoyed that movie.
Come on, he was in Smurfs.
You can't say that I saw that.
I was actually a bigger fan of what was the Clint Eastwood movie about the $1 Million Baby. The boxing movie.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
So, man, that would have been a fantastic segue into the next segment, but we're not there yet. Dang it.
Put it on the show.
So it's okay. I'll figure out a way.
So it says, franchise newcomer Abdul Mateen II is Morpheus, but he's not Lawrence Fishburne's version of the character that fans love. I think what the script provided was a new narrative and some new opportunities that did make room within the Matrix universe for a new Morpheus. Abdul Mateen II teased to Entertainment Weekly in October. I play a character who's definitely aware of the history of the Matrix and the history of Morpheus. This character is on a journey of self-discovery. There's a lot in our story that's about growth, defining your own path. Morpheus isn't exempt from that. This is definitely a different iteration of the character. It's like multiverse in everything now, right? So it says, the film written by Wachowski with the authors David Mitchell and Alexander Hemon have been in development since 2017. Top secret filming began in February of 2020. Wow, that was pretty recent. In San Francisco under the code name Project Ice Cream. I would love to see like somebody actually make movies out of all the horrible code names they give movies.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sounds like a CIA psyop.
With filming also taking place in Germany and Chicago. Production was halted on March 16th, 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but then resumed in August. Filming wrapped in November of 2021. That was like 2 months, like a month ago.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Right? A year didn't go by, did it? Am I losing my mind?
No, you didn't, but 2020 did go by quickly.
But
so did 2021.
That's a long... I mean, they must have been working on the effects in-house as it was like the movie might not even be done yet.
I mean,
the film opens with day and date release on December 22nd on HBO Max and in theaters. So here's some of these tweets, and I'll get to the one that definitely, it's this first one that worries me. It's from David Ehrlich, and it says, The Matrix Resurrections, despite and because of its infinite goofiness, is the boldest and most vividly personal Hollywood sequel since The Last Jedi. A silly, sincere galaxy brain take on reboot culture that makes peace with how modern blockbusters are now only about themselves. So, I don't know if I want a movie that was as deep and introspective as The Matrix to be silly in any fashion, even if it is. I don't know if I'm phrasing that necessarily the most accurate way. It's hard to like put to word what I'm actually trying to explain. There is a silliness to the movies themselves.
There was.
But they still very much take themselves seriously.
The silliness in the first Matrix was like a small percentage surrounded by like a dark, semi-philosophical
You
thing.
almost can't get over it. You almost can't recapture that because that was just the 90s. That was just early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
You cannot... It's like when we were watching Blade the other day. There's a murkiness and a darkness to that tone that has nothing to do with the cinematography. It's almost like it's captured in its essence and conveyed on screen in a way that cannot be broken by space-time. Like, you see it because it was filmed in that era. It has nothing to do with the cameras. It has nothing to do with the actors. It is something to do with how this movie was created from storyboard to filmmaking.
It's also the way we perceive it because we were at the same age when we saw it.
Yeah.
So it's locked in that as well.
Like, it would be interesting to show somebody that movie who'd never seen it now and tell them it was modern. Other than the CGI being bad, like not in fact, a lot of that CGI holds up.
The music would be a cue, probably.
I loved. They don't love drum and bass now. Somebody scream! But here's the part that So it's first, and it was this Ryan right here. The Last Jedi. Nothing should want to ever be compared to The Last Jedi ever. Whether you like the movie or not, because of how polarizing it was to the entirety of the film industry.
What was The Last Jedi again? Like, I don't remember watching
Adam Driver.
The second
Rey.
in the trilogy.
Yeah.
Very, very polarizing because of the fact that they work to deconstruct Luke Skywalker. He becomes a whiny baby. He has no hope, which is literally the opposite of Luke Skywalker. I'm not even a humongous Star Wars fan, but when I saw that, I'm like, this feels off. This feels wrong, right? So if somebody like me, who in Star Wars terms I'm not paying attention to the expanded universe. I saw Clone Wars, but I didn't watch. I'm not following the comics or deep into the lore. I know Ahsoka Tano, and that's about it. Right, so I'm a normie, but I know that that's not Luke Skywalker. Right, so I don't want any movie that is comparing itself to The Last Jedi to think that that's a compliment.
I didn't remember Last Jedi much, and when I Googled it, one of the top questions was, why do people hate Last Jedi?
it's this weird, like, in the industry stands super hard for this movie. Like it's like held up as this benchmark, and nobody outside of of elite media people really can understand why. Because even if you take away the fact that the director was extremely antagonistic towards fans, and that's really the bread there. Rian Johnson had a horrible relationship with the quote unquote man babies, who, like I said earlier, you don't have built-in fans, you have built-in critics. When you're given the keys to a $150 million property that's worth billions of dollars in revenue, you have a duty to leave that property in the same shape you found it.
If not better.
So to not only deconstruct it with no plan for where that will go, not even really thinking about the fact that it's part of a trilogy, and they seem to have no clue what to do. They didn't know how to actually format it as a trilogy. If you can't even do that, and then you're also antagonistic to the people that literally pay the bills that make these properties what they are, I just, that automatically makes me.
This is how I felt with the Mary Poppins remake. My favorite movie in the world is Mary Poppins, and they destroyed it. But I thought I forgot the actress's name who played Mary was amazing. But
she's amazing actress. I'll tell you that. Like, she's amazing. But
they destroyed the heart.
I never saw the remake.
And it's the same thing you're talking about. They
watch
left
Nostalgia
it in bad
Critic. He tells you exactly what's wrong with it.
It's I do want to say that I'm kind of you could say I'm projecting in a way, because I see that term and I automatically get defensive. It's not like the creators of The Matrix are out here bad-mouthing fans. At least not that I've seen. There have been no articles on it. And nobody can hate Keanu. Keanu is like the most he's bulletproof,
beloved.
But he's the most beloved. So it doesn't have that
until this movie.
It does not have that working against it. But to me, as soon as I see critics comparing anything to The Last Jedi, I immediately get iffy. So I'm worried about that.
All the critics are saying this is a comedy, and that's kind of scaring me.
That's worrisome to me too. Comedic elements.
Can you trust critics? If they're saying it's a comedy, maybe they don't know what comedy is anymore, right?
No, because the world is broken. But a lot of people are saying this is very funny, is like consistently funny. And then one person said this is a comedy.
Oh, maybe they messed up the scripts and they did Bill and Ted instead.
Oh my God, no.
It's not perfect. So here's some more of the tweets discussing it. It says, it's not perfect. There are some moments that might be complete and utter nonsense. But while The Matrix Revolutions broke my heart, The Matrix Resurrections did the other thing, and I'm just so happy about it. Full review coming this next Tuesday. Here's one that says from Nigel Smith that says, The Matrix Resurrections is more fun than I remember the sequels ever being. Yes, it's bogged down in exposition like the previous two, but there's a knowing wink to it all now. Newcomer Neil Patrick Harris and Jonathan Groff are key to that. See, that's what I mean. Like, if there's winking at the camera elements to this, it's going to come from the Neil Patrick Harris character.
Yep.
Watch it be from Neo, though. Watch it be from Neo.
I would hope that he wouldn't do that. So it says, The Matrix Resurrections. Here's another one from Dimitri Krauss. It says, The Matrix Resurrections is a grandiose palate cleanser from an era of clinical nostalgia bait and sexless tent poles. They love to talk about. They love, like, Tom Holland. I'm like going off topic here, but Tom Holland did a thing recently where they're like, cause like there's the weirdos that escape Tumblr and infected Twitter. All they care about is the sex lives of characters like these.
Right.
And they're like, who's Peter Parker? Like they love their weird erotic fan fiction. And Tom Holland says, no, Peter Parker's not going to have sex. Nobody cares about Spider-Man actually having sex.
But it's stupid. Did do a sex joke.
But that's not the same thing as showing it, right?
Yeah.
So,
but come on, Spider-Man X Venom. Come on.
Oh my goodness.
Come on.
This
people.
is one of the escapees from Tumblr right here.
She is. Don't. In fact, as funny as that is, I wouldn't insult her like that. That's very mean.
Damn.
No, I'm one of the people who actually escaped from Tumblr. I left the computer and became a human being.
Nice. Rehabilitated.
Yep.
Terrifying.
Time to throw me back into Tumblr
A totally earnest sci-fi romance with some of the most exuberant set pieces this side of Fury Road. Okay, that's a compliment. That's a good compliment. Yeah. Empathetic and incisive in equal measure. Astonishing stuff. So I'm actually not hating as many of these. Like most of it, it's the stuff about comedy, the reference to The Last Jedi, that I'm really taking issue with.
A lot of them are genuinely nice, but most are saying that it's a comedy, which is like kind of weird because The Matrix... it's not supposed to be a comedy.
Nope.
So maybe they misinterpret it because a lot of them, like looking at their profile pics, they look younger.
The Matrix Resurrection could be.
Yeah. Maybe they are interpreting the movie differently.
Could be. The Matrix Resurrections is a total blast. Weird romance. So they keep mentioning romance. So it's going to have a lot to do with Trinity.
That was there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
there's hints.
But that was part of the first trilogy. But I think everybody was so enamored with the theme of
The Matrix.
The theme of what am I trying to say here?
The Matrix.
No, but simulation. My brain always just shuts off when we're on air. Like
you're in the Matrix
now.
Yes.
Like the theme of simulation and the concept of the Matrix was so engrossing that the romantic angles were so common back then that it fell by the wayside as a not the most important part of the movie. Right. Now the romantic stuff is so not part of it.
But when you look back at that first movie, it's a huge part of the
it is
turning part of the end, right?
So what that one critic said about how most movies these days are sexless and essentially void of romantic angles because they're it's just not what sells anymore, I guess. You know, I could make plenty of jokes here, but I'm not going to.
Come on, Neo X Trinity, let's go.
So it says the only thing that worries me about this is the talk about it being overly humorous and winking at the camera. There's absolutely a way that this could be done well, but I almost feel like I talked myself through my apprehensions here.
Yeah, like it was just one bad tweet.
It was like that guy should realize that he's not doing this movie any favors.
Yeah,
maybe.
But it's funny. Someone could have hated Fury Road and see the Fury Road tweet. Like, ugh.
Who could hate Fury?
I don't know. I thought that movie was incredible. Did you like that movie?
Mad Max, Fury Road. I liked it. I watched it on the plane twice.
Awesome. That's a great plane movie.
Exactly.
We're getting there faster somehow.
Let's hope not to crash this plane.
I used to watch, because when I used to travel for skating, I would go on airplanes and I would watch Con Air and I would watch...
Lost.
No. And Harrison Ford from not Under Siege.
What about 2012? Did you watch that on the movie?
I never saw it. The Roland Emmerich movie? I never saw that movie.
Basically the movie where they said 2012 was the end of the world.
Sounds like a Roland Emmerich movie.
Maybe.
I love Day After Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was fun.
Why can't I think of the
Last Man Standing?
You said Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
I don't even know.
We're the Secret Service agent on the and the president, and they're in Air Force One.
Oh, Air Force One.
Yeah. I literally talked myself through. Wow, Brett. Wow. So I used to watch Air Force One and Con Air on airplanes.
Perfect.
That was the thing.
Like a weird trauma thing you have to put yourself through. Like, what is that about?
Wait, watch Snake on the Planes in the airplane.
That's good too.
No, come on. Come on. Just watch Snake on the Planes on an airplane. Freak out your passenger next to you.
When society collapses, we can watch Mad Max together.
Yeah. That'd be perfect.
We'll do that. So most of these tweets are pretty... I feel like we actually talked ourselves through the negativity. I'm gonna give the critics a break here because most of what they're saying feels like... It still feels elitist and like, hoity-toity... it is what it is, but we'll give them like here it says Keanu and Carrie-Anne Moss's chemistry burns. It's got Jessica Henwick in it. We'll forgive her blue hair because Jessica Henwick is awesome. So
okay, there's one tweet though. This is alarming. Okay. There was a point in the middle of the Matrix Resurrections where I briefly thought it was the best movie ever made.
What?
And I haven't convinced myself it's not.
See, that's shill right there. That's like.
And she spelled loved with 10 V's.
A lot of people are gonna hate.
Yeah. We'll see what that's about.
Yeah,
that one's worse.
That is the most. You are hired, my friend. That is the most alarming of all of them.
Yeah.
Like when they're like when somebody's being when a critic is being purposely contrarian.
Yeah.
Be afraid. Be very, very afraid. So who knows? I have a feeling that maybe as with most things, it falls somewhere in the middle.
This is one that gives me hope, though, because this seems to sum up the vibe of The Matrix that I love so much. He says, The Matrix Resurrections, best movie of the year. Okay, it's hyperbole, but this part. So angry, so joyous, so fun. That's good. Doesn't sound like it's slapstick humor like the other tweets. It was angry. It's this brooding, dark thing in The Matrix, and it was joyous. I mean, remember all the silly segments that came out of that for Hollywood and stuff about, how they bent backwards, the bullets. I mean, it was monumental when that came out.
Did you ever watch how they made that stuff?
I don't think I have. I think I've seen the thumbnail.
It's basically just a guy in a green screen suit with like a green screen paddle that catches them and leans them down. Yeah. Really,
I practiced that. I could do it pretty well back in the day. I was in The Matrix.
So it says The Matrix is an almost 2.5 hour exposition dump with choppy action scenes reminiscent of the Bourne movies. It reuses far too much footage from the previous installments and is meta to a fault. That is alarming as well.
Oh no! Why? Why use other? Oh, that doesn't sound good.
Reusing.
Are they gonna have Neo memories now?
I'm guessing that there's a way that could work within the film. If they did that with the trailer, with the trailer where they showed like a past version of the scene from the movie. And
I wasn't sure if that was part of the trailer or if that's part of the narrative of this movie.
It's probably in the movie.
I guess it is. Yeah.
So. Maybe that's why it only took this long to finish making, because there's just a bunch of finished scenes from the original
collage.
The Matrix holiday end of the year special, and it's really just it's just a compilation. It's just a compilation movie. Great. It's just the greatest bait and switch ever.
Yeah, the first title, the running title for this movie was The Matrix Best Of.
No, that would have been see. I would have. I'm here for it if they did that. Just with how they like scam you out of your money, I'd be like, damn, I can't believe I paid for that. Good on you guys. Like, holy shit.
You should read the tweet by Scott. Like, keep
is it
right there.
Scott Mendel? Of course, it's Scott Mendelson. As a comedy, the action is disappointing and the new characters are thin, but the metatextual I bet you he felt so proud of himself when he typed metatextual.
Yes.
Commentary is biting. It wrestles with its own legacy in that Jurassic World, Bad Boys 3, Ready Player One fashion. I prefer the first three, but this is a wild swing. So most of this stuff is fairly tepid and they're leaning into the meta aspects. Only time will tell. We will definitely do a review for it when we get to see it. So you should come back for that.
Yeah,
I know. Just watch it with us.
Just drive really far.
Hopefully I'll be living here soon enough.
This comes out next week. This comes out.
I won't be living here by then, but I like to talk about Keanu's hair and stuff like that too.
Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.